What's up, everyone? It's Fella from Dreamshade, and you're listening to Interview Under Fire.
All right, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another new edition of Interview Under Fire, smack dab in the middle of season 6, believe it or not. This is your host, Sonny, along with Fernando Fella, as mostly people know him, Di Cicco. Quite the honor. Thank you so much for joining our podcast today on IUF. You know, this is an important yet exciting time coming up here in the month of March for you and the rest of the guys over at Dreamshade with the release of your 4th studio album, A Pale Blue Dot, drops March 5th through Horang and Dreamshade Music. First of all, you know, Fella, congratulations on all the well-deserved reaction this has been getting so far, especially with the singles, you know, Lightbringers, Stone Cold Digital, Shanghai Nights, to name a few. There's just so much I want to unravel about all this, but I know we just talked about it pre-interview. I'm going to ask a very important question to start things off. Considering where we are all at this point in our lives, how are you? How's life? How's life in Switzerland, man? I assume things are being handled much better than here in the US. I know things are like flip-flop over here, but how's life for you out there, man?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's great to be with you. And life is good. I have to be honest. It's very weird because it's a pretty weird year for everybody around the world. So, and we were one of the first nations in Europe to be hit by this virus because we live, I mean, I actually live, the whole band lives on the border with Italy. So there was there was the actual red zone, the first red zone in Europe after China. And it was brutal. I have to be honest. We had to change all of our plans for the record. We finished the record in lockdown, so we started writing before the lockdown, and then had to record it in lockdown and mix it on Skype.
Yeah, and you did mention, which I will talk about, A Pale Blue Dot here in a minute, and that was recorded during lockdown, like you said, but it was a very different approach and experience than what you guys are used to. I know all of us are, and making the best of this situation is easier said than done. A lot of the bands, I mean, releasing what they wanted to do in 2020, they have to move it up, and who knows how much longer this is going to continue. But here we are. I mean, obviously we do these interviews in person, so again, appreciate you taking the time. But you know, life as of late, Fella, and many of us have also been away from the stage a lot, fans and musicians alike. But how are you keeping up your vocals and guitar chops these days? Is that affecting your musicianship? Has anything changed for you routine wise lately, if at all?
I started doing everything at home, and I actually never ever stopped writing since we started writing songs for this record. So I just hopped on this opportunity to have more time to dedicate to music. And even if in the first place I was like really bummed that this whole situation changed our plans, then I started taking advantage of it. And after finishing the recordings and the mixing and the mastering of the record, setting up everything on a management level, I kept on writing songs. So now I find myself with a lot of new material to work on, which the guys are really excited about. And I don't know, I feel like the entire lockdown thing woke up something in me. And even if I hate it, I somehow think that makes me really productive.
You know, no, that's easy. I love that answer that you just put out. Now let's talk about something that you guys were really productive on, is the live experience. And Fella, you've been at this since 2006, you know, with Dreamshade.
Yeah.
You've all, 15 years, and you've also played with Darkest Hour at some point during your career. But how was the touring life for you personally, Fella? Because you've done some extensive touring throughout your career as well, you know, whether it's at South Africa to Asia to the UK and the US. You've also played in the Greenfield Festival and that one festival, I believe it's called Alluvieti and Friends in 2017.
Yeah, we played 2 or 3 times with them at their festival. Yeah.
And now we're all kind of just, I don't know, taking like an unexpected step back. And does it make you have a growing appreciation of the touring life? Because we're talking, there's food, the cultures, the fans. There's just so many things to pick apart about what makes touring, so amazing. I mean, for lack of a better word, but what was your biggest personal takeaway from that?
Meeting people. I do love the stage, and don't get me wrong, it's the best thing that one can do if you love music.
Of course.
Absolutely, and especially for us, it was a hard hit because we came from 2019 where we toured the whole year. I mean, I was on tour every month because I toured with Dreamshade and Don Broco in Europe, and then we went to South Africa. Then I joined the Darkest Hour with Misery Signals and Unearth, and we did the whole European tour again. Then we did the festivals. Then we went to Asia with Dreamshade, and then in January and February I joined Darkest Hour again for their 25th anniversary tour here in Europe, and I never stopped playing live until the virus hit. And I feel bad about it, but I still feel lucky because that exact time coincided with the start of the recording of the record. So it's a bad timing,
Yeah.
but it could be way worse. And what I miss about the road is just not being able to make new friends and meet people around the world, because I feel like super lucky to have this opportunity to meet very interesting people every time that we travel.
Yeah, and the same thing was for me because I was at a show every week before this whole lockdown started. And again, what did I say earlier? Making the best of the situation is what we have to do. And a very popular topic on Interview Under Fire for the last year, which I can't believe I'm even saying year already, is, and you've seen this, fella, you've seen this. Bands have been doing it, live streaming. A lot of the bands, what they do on stage are taking it to what we're doing right now. You know, Code Orange was one of the first bands to do it. I think there were bands before that. You know, we had Nilo from Insomnium on the show. He talked about his experience on selling virtual tickets to the fans and pre-recording a show and streaming it. And then, like we mentioned earlier, you know, August Burns Red did it, Lamb of God did it, Behemoth did it.
And we did it with Darkest Hour too, also in September.
Exactly. I was actually going to bring that up as well. But you know, with all the experience that you've taken in, fella, with what you just talked about with the festivals and the collaborations and all the friends and fans, just the people you meet, you know, it's a change of scenery, definitely a drastic change. But do you think that the quarantine induced live streaming that we're seeing right now from all these bands, I wouldn't even say surge at this point, it's just, you know, at a constant now, it's going up and up and up. Is that going to affect the touring musician business going forward through your perspective? Like, do you still see bands doing something like this even after all this is over?
Some bands will do it. I gotta be honest. I think it's a great opportunity for bands that are not able to travel right now and to tour and make money off the live shows. But it's still very, very expensive. I mean, to make a good quality type of show, it's very expensive. It's hard to sell tickets to a show that doesn't happen in front of you. But still, I feel like the most dedicated fans are willing to pay for that, and that's something really great, because it shows that at least in the rock community, it's pretty much alive. Yeah. So the people that follow you actually miss you being on the road as much as you do, and it's, I don't know. I feel like somebody will keep doing it, but it's never gonna be the same.
No, of course not. I remember last summer I always like bringing this up. Last summer I went to the Metallica live streaming. I don't know if you knew about that. That was happening here in the States. They did it for one weekend, and luckily a friend of mine had an extra ticket. He was like, "Hey, Sonny, you wanna go to this Metallica live stream?" Which, by the way, I'm sure I've said this before. This is my first ever live experience with Metallica. I've never seen Metallica in person. And if you would have told me, "Hey, Sonny, the first time you'll see Metallica is during a pandemic at a drive-in," I would think you'd be outside your mind. But we get there, and in Texas, it was like in a desert area, you know, and we had a billboard outside, which was a blank billboard. And you know, what's the popular thing we hear at metal show is, "Let me see your horns," right? And you see just a sea of horns of all the fans that are below you, and you get that a rush of adrenaline through your body. That you can't match that. And instead, what do we get? We got, "Hey, let me hear you honk your horns." So if you roll your window down, You just hear a bunch of cars just honking just in the middle of the night, just out in the darkness. It felt so odd, but what I'm trying to get at is it just made me miss the live experience even more. Yeah, I have the liberty to mosh in my own room if I want to, but how much longer can I do that for? You did the live streaming. Now what? How much more creative can you get? I don't know if that has crossed your mind.
I used to think about this in the first months of pandemic. Then I stopped because I felt like I was getting nowhere, and maybe it's not my place to find to find a new way to do it, or maybe I will have some ideas in the future. But what I want to say is this: missing a show is not you missing the band playing live, but it's way more you being next to people that feel the same as you, in my opinion. And that's the same way that it goes for the bands watching you guys, in the pit and or under the stage.
Lose our shit in the pits.
Yes, because you connect with people with you're giving the music and your energy somehow, and people are giving you their energy, and that's the type of connection that you will never get through a screen, or maybe just until now. Who knows what will happen in the future? But I'm positive that this is gonna change soon for many countries. Maybe not all over the world, but I feel like at least in a year from now we're gonna be back on stage. I really hope so.
Yeah, and speaking of a year from now, let's hope that A Pale Blue Dot is all the way out there for the fans to listen to live. And it is a fourth album. I'm going to talk about that now. And we covered so many topics, but let's cover A Pale Blue Dot. Comes out March 5th on Horang Music and distributed by Dreamshade yourself. And the title, for my listeners who don't know, is derived from the famous Carl Sagan book, A Pale Blue Dot from 1994. And being a sci-fi nerd that I am, this just hit home. And this is your first album in 5 years since 2016's Vibrant. And I'm going to quote Safe Harbor here, the first song. Everything changes when I press play. That's exactly what happened to me when
So you had the chance to listen to it.
Yeah. And I kept listening to it over and over and over. It took me back to, not even taking me back, it just reminded me of bands like Killswitch and Periphery, even Skyfire. I'll even throw that in there.
Absolutely. And, that was one of my first influences ever.
There you go. That goes hand in hand, from songs like Lightbringers to Question Everything to Elephant, which is my personal favorite. Holy shit. Riff after riff, groove after groove. This was well worth the wait after half a decade. So let me ask you this, fella. How much did things change from when you first started composing this album to where you ended up finishing it? Did a lot change in between? Did nothing change in between? Was there already a specific sound you guys knew you wanted with A Pale Blue Dot? I know it's a loaded question, but I wanted to set you up for this specifically.
It's also very interesting. So thank you, because it's I can hear that you know what you're talking about, and it's great. So we released Vibrant at the end of 2016. We loved that record, and we did a very big touring cycle after that. We got some mixed feelings on it because it didn't really sound like we wanted to. We were expecting to, and some things were rushed, so we didn't dedicate much. We hadn't had the opportunity to dedicate much time on it. That's why it took so long to have another album out, because we needed to understand what we wanted next for the band, because we're not out there to just keep releasing stuff and then after 10 years look back and just cringe. We don't want to do that. We just want to put the best art that we can do at that particular moment in time. And I feel like some time helped the band really understand what is our role in this, in the bigger picture, and something that really always hit the fans is our lyrics and our type of melodies, because I feel like they are pretty unique. And so we really worked on this for this time. So we started it took 5 months to write and record. which is the fastest that we've ever done a record. We just needed the right moment to start. So after a full year and a half touring, and after releasing Question Everything, which is on the record, we really felt, okay, we have that type of energy to start writing. So we put a deadline on it, and it was like 3 months later, and we just locked ourselves up in our rehearsal space and our home, and started writing every day, and every week we had a new song ready. And then when we started, working on vocals, everything just clicked. So I feel like the songs were already really good, and we knew that already since the demo stage. And then working on it with the samples and the vocals and everything really felt like every song was talking to us. And we felt like, okay, if this is so meaningful for us, of course it's going to be meaningful for somebody else. So this is the right moment to make an album. And then we decided to produce it.
Yeah. And I did mention that this was a whole different experience when it came to putting yourselves in lockdown. I feel like you said it allowed you to tap into a whole different dimension of Fella that you may have not been able to tap into before. And it was different from your previous three. But at the same time, what I got was that sense of maturity was there, and you still stayed true to your sound, which is not an easy thing to do for heavy metal bands. Yet here you are.
It's very interesting because it's a very long process. It's not something that you can just decide and do. It's not like that. Even if some bands are going to tell you that, it's not true.
No, not at all.
The truth is, we started the band in 2006 and then recorded our first EP in 2008, and already decided that we wanted to have a very distinguished sound. We didn't want to sound like somebody else. So we felt like that first type of riffs, songwriting style, we need to keep that and evolve it every other record. That's why you're never going to find a Dreamshade record that sounds exactly the same as the previous one. Because we want to keep the songwriting going in the Dreamshade style. And even if we change genres, maybe we do a bossa nova album after this, but you're going to know that it's
I would hope so. That would be great.
I would love it because it's one of my favorite genres, but you know what I'm talking about. People will understand in time, even if it's just, 10 years from now, they will understand that Dreamshade is a style of songwriting and not a music genre.
It's funny you say that, because I've had so many records that I look up to that I didn't really realize that it was that impactful until 5 or 10 years later.
Absolutely.
I don't know how that is, but it just happens. You listen to an album and then you maybe don't listen to it again, maybe until the next year. And then it hits you way further down the road. And it's like, holy shit. Okay. That was actually an awakening experience. And, and you nailed it right on the head with the Pale Blue Dot. I'm pretty sure this is going to be hailed as one of the top metalcore albums, if not for this year, for a lot of years, for to come. And look at the bands that I just mentioned and everything we just talked about. Something else I want to talk about is, it was also mixed and mastered by Grammy-nominated producer Jacob Hansen. And Jacob, he's known for his work with Amaranth and the Black Dahlia Murder, Volbeat, Epica, Delane. And we've had the privilege to talk with all those bands already, and they've talked about amazing things about Jacob. And it was recorded in Denmark, who also worked on A Gift of Life back in 2013. So I'm sure there was a sense of comfortability in the studio for you, Fella, and the rest of the guys, knowing that Jacob was working on this album with you. Yes.
He's a true angel. It's just very weird. We had this connection when we did The Gift of Life back in 2013, where we never felt that somebody really understood our music up to that point. And that was the first record where we changed our singer and Kevin joined the band. And we were under this pressure by the audience that we had at the time. And it was a full, metalhead type of audience that was breathing on our necks for new music, and really was trying to, some of the people were trying to discredit us for changing the singer so early in the process and everything, but they didn't know what we knew. They didn't know that Kevin was a fucking beast.
Of course.
And that helped us really think out of the box. And I feel like The Gift of Life is the first record where we felt truly free to express whatever came to mind. Mm-hmm. Even if it wasn't metal, we could transform it and make it sound Dreamshade. So that's where we started really taking many influences from outside rock and metal. And that's what makes Dreamshade sound very, very unique, in my opinion. And Jacob really understood that and made us something amazing. And this time, he even made something even greater, in my opinion.
And I'm going to throw two more names out there for you. Pop star Rose Villain and Darkest Hour frontman John Henry. Holy shit. Well, I mean, Stone Cold Digital and Nothing But the Truth, respectively, they perform on the songs and they do it so well. Just the chemistry that I heard, I'm like, of course. I mean, why wouldn't they have them on here? That works, that rounds out the album to perfection. What was that experience like, bringing in outside professional artists in their music fields, respective music fields, into your world of making music? Did it make the process that much easier?
Honestly, that was my dream. I always want to. I never did any collaboration in Dreamshade before, mm-hmm. and I always wanted to. I felt like maybe some, I don't know, a slice of audience that we have, maybe it's not ready for this. But I also feel like they are now used that we change every album. So maybe it's the right time to really make them understand and make them love our music as much as we do through this process. So we started thinking about people that could add value to these songs. Mm-hmm. And as you know, because you already listened to the record, Stone Cold Digital is a very different type of song than Nothing But the Truth, right?
Of course.
So they could be two totally different bands. Right,
and that's how you got me excited with the whole bossa nova thing. Okay, is this? I'm getting excited right now for your next album. Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, so that's how it came about. We had this very different type of songs, and we knew that we could make them sound good in the same record. That's the difficulty of it, of course, because it's never easy. But we felt so confident because all of the songs are very energetic. In their own way, right? Even being very different styles. So we had this very Stone Cold Digital is a very weird song to me because it's a type of scale that we never use. It's very synth driven. There is rap in it. There is melodic screams in it. There is clean vocals. And then I wanted to just take it to the next level and add our first collaboration ever. And to make it weirder, I didn't want a rock singer. I didn't want a male singer. And we had this opportunity to have her because we were touring China and our new drummer was texting her. And I noticed that, being a fan of her for some years, because she did some collaboration with very huge Italian artists. I love her voice. Yeah. And I saw he was texting her on Instagram on the DMs. And I was like, are you really texting her? And she and he turned to me and was like, yeah, we used to have a band together back in LA 10 years ago. And I was like, what the fuck? Really?
That makes it convenient.
Wow. And so I started writing the song some months later, and it just clicked like, okay, I have this song. She could be perfect on this because it's very weird. We can make it even weirder. And then I sent it to her and she was all excited. And a few months later, we had the vocals because she lives in New York.
Yeah. I can tell just by your excitement. You're jumping out the seat. I can see. I mean, that
shows,
crazy. I mean, that shows how much dedication you have to your craft, fella. And I never knew that, you know, guitar riffs, double bass, and synths, like all these things would come together. I never knew how much I needed this in my life. You know, you can go back 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Yeah, we'll talk about the 90s grunge and doing what they did, you know, 2000s with the whole, you know, new metal came into the scene. And now I feel like with this whole synths thing, there's a trick to it, but you guys do it to perfection. And I mean, I don't mean to sound like a broken record. I can't wait for what you guys have stored in the future. Like all these things that you have under your sleeve.
Me neither.
Yeah, I'm sure it opened up so many other ideas that you guys have potential to explore, which is great things. That shows the growth of the musicality within Dreamshade. And something I also want to touch on is, between writing and structuring the songs and the production process, like you just talked about, the bulk of the lyricism, and this is what I was really excited about, the bulk of the lyricism in Dreamshade surrounds, life and visions, personal and inner struggles. And the title comes from Carl Sagan's book, again, Pale Blue Dot. You have a song like Shanghai Nights, which is about the nostalgic moment that you live in when the tour is over and it's time to go back home. And then you have a song like Lightbringers, which is about urging today's generations to take care of one another and the beauty that surrounds us. And then Stone Cold Digital, like you just talked about the obsessive digitalization of mankind. So what I'm trying to tie in here is the theme, and how important are themes to you guys, fella? Is that more about helping you write or sound, or is that more for the audience? Like, to what level do you guys like to have a theme for your music?
To me, this has always been everything, because I live by this rule. And I mean, of course, I am the founder member of the band. I've been the longest in it, but also the other guys definitely agree with this. If you are an artist and you don't have something to say, you shouldn't say nothing, because nobody's forcing you to do this. So I only will do albums when I have something really important to say, or something really heartfelt, or something really inspiring, or something that can resonate with the people who's listening. And I still feel like so lucky that people can understand what we are saying in the songs, because they can relate so much. And it's really impressive to me, because I grew up when metal used to be not so heartfelt and just being movie inspired and talking about death and really weird
good old Cannibal
stuff.
Corpse.
I love it. I mean, I love it because that's what I like too. But I never really wanted to be that type of artist in terms of lyrics, So being not a native English speaker, it's great to see that so many lyrics actually resonate with people. So I would say they are the reason for what we write. They start the songwriting process for me, because I already have a lot of lyrics written that I'm constantly working on, because there are some things that we really want to talk about.
Yeah. No, I love that answer, because a lot of artists don't really care about themes. They just do 10 songs in the studio and that's it. But I feel like Dreamshade, there was just a specific message you guys wanted to get out there. And, again, just, every song that I just talked about, it just resonated with someone like me. And I'm sure with all the fans. And I can't wait till you guys come to Dallas and we do another one of these.
I would love to come to Texas, man.
I mean, yeah, of course. Right now, it's come now. Don't come in February. Our Februarys are brutal. But with your career, fella, do you see your albums that you put out throughout? Do you see these as snapshots of where you are in a certain time in your life, looking back?
Always. Always. I want to remember. I live my life by albums. They are chapters of my life and our lives. And it's just, I feel great when I can look back to the catalog of music that we released and feel like proud of all of it. And even if some songs right now sound a little bit on expert level, maybe the older ones, I still feel that there is something special in it. And I know many other artists that cannot say the same thing. And
it's true.
I don't know. I don't know. It's always been special for me, just being able to be heard by people. So I just feel like I'm doing this because I know that somebody can understand.
Yeah, because I feel like, it's easy to look back on a year like 2020 and whatever music you put out, you could say something like, oh, hey, this was the pandemic song. This was the pandemic album. This was pandemic. So whatever I did was the pandemic. But I see it. I feel like you could see it the same way. I mean, I don't mean to speak for a lot of people, but it allowed you to grow musically and artistically and personally that you may have not been able to explore about yourself before. And yeah, we're cooped up at home, but what you just said about how you were able to just write the lyrics, it made the process easier for you, knowing that you were just locked in, and it gave you something to focus on.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense? I don't hope I'm not
Yeah,
rambling
yeah,
here,
yeah.
but yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I usually even write, I don't know, pieces of text that maybe not end up in a song, and because I just want to express something, and I feel that need of write a page on my computer and then just go and throw something that when I read it again over and over makes me feel some type of chill.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you see where I'm going.
No,
that's something I really need in my life.
I do. And again, if it wasn't for musicians and artists like you, I wouldn't be here today. So much appreciated. Like, I mean, the reason why I do this publication is to, give you guys a platform to speak on what you love to do and what you have a passion for. From the different experiences and perspectives in your timeline you have taken in, which we have discussed about so far, whether it's, playing for Dreamshade for as long as you have, 15 years, touring, from South America, to Asia, UK, US, playing with Darkest Hour, that experience. Fella, have your aspirations as a person or a band, have they changed or evolved since when you first started playing music and playing music in the industry? Do you see things differently today?
Of course, I feel they keep changing, and maybe in, I don't know, 5 years from now, I would not think the same, but there is something that is still the same to me, or maybe it's even it burns harder, which is being able to cultivate the passion that we have. And it's really great to be able to see the progress, because if you don't see the progress, sometimes you feel like you're stuck somewhere, being it songwriting or touring, or I don't know, maybe you're not always super busy with the band because opportunities don't show up, who knows. But that's something that everybody lives in this type of field, I feel like. Especially we live in a place that it's very, very small. We live in a very small town in southern Switzerland where nothing really happens. There are no other bands that tour the world, so it's very hard to find people that can understand you when you live through these type of moments.
Mm-hmm. I'm here in Dallas, and we're getting our own snow. You're already used to that. We're not, so that's something.
Yeah, but I feel like something is certain. I mean, I feel the passion is their way, and it's, I mean, even stronger than ever before, and that's something that many artists cannot say.
Yeah,
because sometimes it just drops,
Yeah.
And I know that I can do even better than what we just did, and I have so many ideas that I still really wanted to put out.
Yeah, it's always nice to have something like that to look forward to. Like, you have so much left to do, and you can't wait to get to it, And you even your new album hasn't even dropped yet, and it's already gaining so much positive recognition. It's definitely something to be humble about. Now, we're approaching the last part of the interview. Do me a favor, stick around for 1 minute after the interview. What I'm going to do right now, this is the fun part. This is the way I like to end my interviews. I do this with a few of my guests, and they love it. It always throws them off. What I'm going to do, fella, I'm going to put you on the hot seat. I'm going to see if you know the lyrics to your own songs. You up for that challenge?
Of course.
You're not nervous. All right, that's good. You're like, yeah, let's do it. We were talking about lyrics throughout the entire episode, so I was like, hey, why not put them on the seat? Here we go. What I'm going to do, I'm going to start you up easy. I think you already know. I think you'll be fine. I handpicked a select few songs. I'm going to read the lyric, and you name the song. You ready?
Of course.
Of course you're ready. Why not? All right, here we go. I've seen the worst in people, ignored their negativity. It's an
on
empire.
My own.
Oh yeah, see, you already. I didn't even get to finish that.
Oh, you want me to let you finish?
No, that's okay. That's even better.
Okay.
If you interrupt me, that shows how well.
So it's somehow a quiz.
Yeah, it's kind of a quiz, and
okay.
This is funny because I've had artists who say, yeah, yeah, I'll get every song right. They get every song wrong. And then some artists will say, oh, I won't get any song right. And they get every song right. It's always the opposite. But all right, so I'm not going to go in order either. So hopefully I can get you on one. Hopefully. Here we go. All that I want seems too much to ask. And all I need hides behind your mask. I need something that makes
Sandcastles.
Wow. Yeah, it's from The Gift of Life 2013. I feel like when I read these, it's like poetry. I'm just like singing a lullaby to someone.
Yeah.
It's a different delivery when you just speak it in dialogue.
Absolutely.
Right?
It took some time.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Moving on. Take my hand and walk with me through my darkest nights. I'm just so scared of from Vibrant. Wow, 2016. You got this. Here we go. From the loneliness of our souls, we'll start to be the same thing. We'll start to be what we always wanted and our wishes come true. Please get this one wrong.
So this is from What Silence Hides.
Yep.
Oh. And that's the title song.
The title track, yeah.
Okay.
I was like, wait, that's the title track. The first song on that record, 2011.
Ooh, that was hard, man.
That was 10 years ago. That's good.
Yes.
All right. Moving on. I think man, I'm pretty much you'll get all of it. Why can't I understand you? The path you're on, I can't get.
Sincere.
From The Gift of Life 2013. Man, we're knocking this out. Watching the world change its course, like Fellas.
Eternal.
Eternal. I said Fellas. That's Fella. What Silence Hides 2011, another great album. I mean that album holds up really well, even though it's 10 years old. I can't believe
it's very special in that type of melodic death metal because it sounded very different from our peers, I feel, and I just had the chance to listen to it last month because it just turned 10 years old.
How was that?
It was surprisingly good. I mean, I know that many people don't even know that type of genre, so maybe it's not appealing for them. But for me, that I've been growing up in that type of style, I feel like it's very special.
Yeah, no, it really is. Okay, we got two more, which I don't doubt you'll get these. So damn young, our ascent has begun. Do I even need to read anymore? Okay.
This is Lightbringers.
Wow, just one line and you got it. I don't think I've ever done that before. Pale Blue Dot comes out in March. Okay, I'll do this again. This is one line only. I am the only one who can write this page.
Dreamers don't sleep.
Wow, Vibrant. You got every song right. That was probably the fastest hot seat I've ever done.
Nice.
Fella, this has been such an honor. Do you have any last words, any shout outs, anything you would like to plug in as far as Dreamshade and just the hard work you put out in the world for the fans and listeners out there?
So I really hope that everybody out there is going to be able to listen to this record because it's very important for us at this stage, at least. And it's a very long record. It's 14 songs. So there is a lot to process, in my opinion.
It doesn't feel like it though.
That's amazing. It's the longest record that we've ever done, and it's I'm really proud of it. So if you're using streaming services, we're available everywhere from Spotify, Pandora, Tidal, Apple Music, whatever you use. And if you're a fan of physical copies, we have physical CDs and limited double vinyls. They're really looking great and are going pretty fast. But they're all on our website.
No, I was going to say, I still buy records. They're like in the corner of my room. I still buy them. And, everyone who's listening, if you're able to do it, buy the merch because the bands can't do it without your help. The Spotify listens always help, the streaming services. But if you can, buy the album. And everyone who's listening, this is Fella from Dreamshade. A Pale Blue Dot comes out March 5th on Horang and Dreamshade Music as well. Their own label. And Fella, this has been great. Hopefully we can do this again with you and the boys, in person, obviously.
That would be awesome, man.
Yeah, come to Dallas. There'll be a quite the warm welcome here. A warm welcome. Let me emphasize that. It's been freezing here for the last week. And you can, everyone who's listening, you can listen to this podcast on interviewunderfire.com. We're also on every stream out there, whatever service you guys can have. We appreciate the support. Fella, you stay safe out there in Switzerland, man. We'll do this again.
Absolutely. Can't wait to meet you in person, and you should meet the guys, honestly. It's going to be fun.
I can't wait.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to Interview Under Fire podcast. If you guys liked what you heard, please subscribe and share our channel. And please leave a 5-star review, as that helps us tremendously. And also, if you guys have any questions or comments, you can find us at Interview Under Fire at Facebook or at Instagram. Or you can write us directly at schwag@interviewunderfire.com. That's SCHWAG at interviewunderfire.com. Or Rezablade, that's REZABLADE at interviewunderfire.